Hey, welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to talk about success and growth and that mindset that goes with it. Did you know that so many people only view success as like what their bank account looks like? I personally did not know this until my life coach was talking about it recently. And she was saying how a lot of people struggle with the idea of success and they don't think that they have ever found success or that they ever will. And a lot of people quit because of it. Um, and so I want to define success for people because there's a lot of different definitions. My favorite is um, is what Napoleon Hill, I believe that's who it was, um, said it in the Think and Grow Rich book. Um, I'm just going to. He says he defines success as the ability to obtain what one wants without infringing on the rights of others. Um, Hill's philosophy of success is based on the idea that people can achieve success by first developing a positive mindset. And um, honestly, attitude is everything. If you feel like you're not successful, check your attitude. Like, do a check in with yourself and see if it's been, a little toxic or negative at times or often, and pinpoint those times. Like, what do you think it stemmed from? Like, do a self evaluation and don't beat up yourself. Something I used to do is be my own worst critic. And what I'm learning and unlearning is that being my own worst critic and beating myself up and talking negative does not change my circumstance. It actually keeps me in that same headspace and in that same pattern of behavior and the same results. And so, by changing my mindset and giving myself constructive feedback that's going to help me grow, and then also seeing in the areas where I could change or I could grow, I could evolve more, maybe I can practice some affirmations to help shift that mindset, right? That positive mindset. You have to develop that. And it's something you do all the time. It's not something that you just do for 30 minutes each day. It's something that it's a new skill, new habit that you are going to rewire your brain and rewire your mouth and your thoughts and your words. And it's developing that new, healthier version of yourself. That in itself will catapult you to just so many amazing things. The second thing is having a clear vision of your goals. Having a clear vision of your goals looks like this. Something my life coach is teaching me is that don't be afraid to dream big. Don't be afraid to shoot for like the moon. Some people told me that my goals were too big, that my, goals were so astronomical. Well, you're going to have this big, crazy goal that scares the crap out of you that you just have. It's a burning desire and you're going to love it and you're gonna just want that and crave it, that's your goal, right? That's your vision. Um, and and you need to have that clear, like be very, very detailed and very specific. The more, the better, right? And then the other thing is, you'll have little planes, you'll have little plantations where you'll pop and stop, and those would be like target goals, like tinier goals. And so you'll be working toward developing those, right? So those are something that literally we all can sit down and do. And then the other thing is relentlessly pursuing your goals. I think that we set a goal and then we don't set an action plan on the things that we can do, and we're not listening to our intuitive mind, or our intuitive mind can really tell us what's next. And I ask myself that one question a lot. Okay, what's next? What can I do next to work toward my big goal? And who can I serve next is always a great question because you're going to be going for your goals. We're always in service in some way, shape, or form. So who can I help? Who can I help? And so it's just like that. Relentlessly choose 5 people that you want to have communication with about your goals, about your business or whatever it is that you're doing to hit that specific goal. How are you going to interact with 5 potential people that can help you get closer to achieving that goal? How can you be of service, right? And then the other thing is having a definite purpose. What's your purpose? Do you feel like you know what your purpose is? Have you explored at all what you think your purpose is? Have you, sat down and done some prayer, meditation, some journaling, and really just sort of really mapping out what your definite purpose is? I think a lot of us struggle with that. And for a long time, I didn't know my purpose. I realized my purpose is really helping people and serving people and sharing what I've experienced and learning through like this podcast and through the book I just wrote, or through, my business that I do for my health and wellness business, like, or just my day to day, just being a good person. You never know. Sometimes it's also, your purpose lies in like, who do you believe yourself to be? It's really hard to know your purpose if you have a really negative self mindset or self image. And if you have like doubts and fears, it's going to be really hard or no goals, it's going to be hard to really define what your purpose is. And so once you've been able to start working on that healthier mindset, you start really starting to sit down and journal and do some gratitude. Honestly, that really helped me a lot. Gratitude journaling and speaking gratitude out loud. I am so grateful for the air I breathe every day. I'm so grateful for being able to be a light to someone else. I'm so grateful I woke up this morning. It makes a huge difference. The little things are so important. Everything is so important. You should be grateful for every single little thing. The good and the not so great, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Check your circle. Who are you surrounding yourself with on a regular basis, whether it be on social media, television, listening to music, people, your work environment, like what is the people that you surround yourself with on a on a regular basis? Do they have goals? Do you have a healthier mindset? Are they working on themselves in any way, shape, or form? Or are they stagnant? Are they negative? Are they always talking really bad about other people? Are they gossiping? Like these are things that that really make a difference in you and who you are, because they say the 5 to 10 people that you surround yourself with really divide up like your personality and like who you are. And so are you surrounded by like-minded people that want to, have big, audacious, crazy goals like you? Do they run after them? Do they have consistency, discipline? Do they even like sit down and, have thinking time each day? Or there's just little various things that you may have, qualities about yourself that you're working toward, that you'll find those in other people that can really help you keep on track as well, right? The next thing is developing character and grit. We have to understand that other people's opinions do not matter. Um, I think that's the thing I've learned the most is that other people's opinions don't matter. And developing my character means I have a really healthy self image, which means that I know who I am. I love the person that I am. And I'm just striving to be a better me each day, 1%. And she is just such an amazing, incredible human or being who just literally can walk into a room and elevate it in such a positive, healthy way, with just her energy. And I really truly believe like that's who I am and who I am created to be is just an elevator. I'm created to be a light and to be able to just help so many people and inspire people with the journey that I've gone through and how I've been able to and make it better. And how my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions played a valuable role in the character that I played. For a long time, I wasn't the main person in my story. I wasn't the main character in my story. I was a supporting character. I was behind the scenes watching from, the camera with fear, you know what I mean? Directing and just producing, but I was not the main character in my story. And by choosing a different story, by redesigning my story and my self-image, it's given me more grit. It's given me more authenticity. It's developed me into a person that I love being this person. I love the body I'm in. I love the skin I'm in. I love my heart and my soul. And I just want to see her live her best life. And that's really what the developing of the character is about, is just becoming your best self. And who you think you are right now is not who you're going to become, because it's going to get better the more you can become more good at visualizing and practicing, um, visualization. Like that's the next thing is he's talking about is practicing visualization. Like if you're not in your head taking some time to just picture yourself in a better place and you're just looking around at where you're at right now and disgusted and you're just like frustrated or overwhelmed or just like whatever the feeling is, it's not a good feeling, right? Because you're focusing on like what you actually have right now, like physical, tangible. But like imagine if you can think it, you can have it, and picture yourself while you're sitting on this chair that's uncomfortable. Picture yourself sitting on the most comfortable chair in the world. And it's in your living room and you love it and it's your favorite color and it does exactly what you want. It has a cup holder, it has a spot to charge your phone, it has a little holder to put little trinkets and things in. It's so soft and comfy and warm and it just snuggles you right up, and it has a heated massager, and it has like the feet, the foot come up so that you can elevate your feet. Like it is literally something that like you would never want to get out of. It is so comfortable. Could you imagine the difference you're going to feel picturing that versus if you were just sitting in an uncomfortable chair and thinking about how uncomfortable it is? I would much rather picture that comfy chair because I'm gonna find that comfy chair. It's gonna come and it's gonna pop up and I'm gonna get it. Or I'm gonna set a goal to get it. Like, oh my gosh, I want that. And it's just going to happen. I don't know, have to worry about the how. It's just gonna come because that's what happens is the universe and it aligns with everything. We're a magnet. And God is constantly telling us if we're not asking, we're not receiving. If we're not asking, we're not receiving. And it's not so much about the receiving, but it's about the blessings that come when you have faith and you believe in things. And it starts off with a chair, but soon it grows into everything. And it's so much bigger than the chair. That's just an analogy. It's just so much bigger than that chair. Imagine how life would feel if you visualized it so much better. And then that happened because that was where your thoughts took you, because you started doing and taking it inspired action from those thoughts, from those feelings, from picturing it. You started taking inspired action and you get there. Like naturally it's gonna happen. The next thing is being decisive. A successful person is a good decision maker. And that's something that I've been really working on is making decisions and holding to those decisions and sticking to those decisions. And am I perfect at it? No. I'm a work in progress though, and I know I will be really damn good at it the more I practice. And so being a good decision maker means you don't just sit around and question things. You don't go asking everybody else for their thoughts or what they think. If it's something that you need to decide, you sit there and you tell yourself, does this feel good? Does this feel good? Is this something that's aligned with where I'm headed and my big, audacious, crazy goal, right? My big goal? Or does this not align with that? It's okay to say no. A good decision maker knows when to say yes and knows when to say no. And they say no without any regret, without any guilt or shame, without any doubt. They know that it's a good thing for them to say no. There's always something better that comes after that no, because you chose to do what didn't align with where you're headed. And that is completely okay. And it's okay to tell people, yeah, I will see what I can do. And then guess what? You make that decision. If it's not aligning with you, you don't go do that. And some people used to say, do it anyways. I used to hear people say, well, just do it anyways. Just pretend like you're a robot and push the buttons and just get it done. And that is just so far from the truth. And here's why, because we're not robots. Intuition is our highest faculty. Imagination is another one, right? We have these incredible gifts that were given to us, and if we're not paying attention to those and we're just doing what everybody else says we should do, we will always stay stagnant. We will always stay at the bottom. We will always be the little fish in the big pond. And the reason why is because you're not doing what you were designed by purpose and created to do. Everybody has a God given talent. Everybody has something that was given to them that it makes them special. It's a special gift. And some people have multiple. And if you're not doing those things, I told my chiropractor, this is a great example. I've had my same chiropractor for over 20 years, and he is incredible at what he does. He is following his God-given gift, and you can tell. You can tell by how happy he is through no matter what it is he's going through, he always has a smile on his face and he's laughing. He always tries to see things from a really good light, but he just enjoys what he does. He literally loves what he does. He enjoys it. He loves it. It's something that he's been doing it for like 25 years and he just loves it. And you can tell that it's his gift. You can tell it's his special gift, right? And so that's just a good example. So you have to like decide and don't let other people decide for you. Just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you should do it for the rest of your life. There's going to be something that is on your heart that you've always wanted to do. And you're going to let it go because you think it's just too big of a goal, or you think you can never accomplish it, or you think other people will like judge you. You should go after that goal. Like that's the one that you should be chasing. That's the one that you should be going for. And the other thing is establishing positive habits. We talked about positive mindset, right? And pursuing our goals and being surrounded by those people and finding your purpose, developing your character and having that grit, right? Practicing your visualization, being very decisive, right? Making decisions, being a quick decision maker, knowing exactly what you want. Well, establishing positive habits is going to help you so much. And so don't try to replace a bunch of negative habits with a bunch of positive habits all at once. The best advice that I've been given is choose one in the very beginning. Choose one negative habit that you'd like to change. Sit down with yourself and be very intentional and be very open about why like start digging into the root of why you have that habit and then start rewriting your story. So write the story of how that habit developed and how you think it came, where you think it stemmed from, and the things like what it does, like how that habit affects your life right now in the present, and then take another sheet of paper and rewrite the story you just wrote into a positive on how your what the new habit is. So whatever new habit, healthier, positive habit that you're choosing to swap, I want you to write your story and rewrite it with that positive habit and see how it's going to change your life and start visualizing and imagining how it's going to change your life and the people around you and what it does to your relationships, what it does to your work environment, what it does to your personal life, what it does to your mindset and your health, what it does to you spiritually, emotionally. Like these are all incredible things. Like this is something that you'll start being able to see, and the more you practice that positive habit, start really small with that one habit, the more you're practicing that positive habit, you'll start seeing other habits about yourself that you want to improve. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a list of order of importance as they come along. Just add to your list, and then once a month, I would say once a month in the beginning, just as you've practiced that first habit for that first month, it's gonna seem like a long time, but I promise you this is a lifetime thing you're doing, so it's not. It's gonna be worth it because 'cause you're taking that time. Takes about 28 days, sometimes it can take a little longer for people to develop a habit, and to stay to get to really have it, okay? So, as you're developing that habit, you will start noticing little things. Just take little mental notes, take a little notes in your phone. Don't beat yourself up about them, just know they're there, because what's gonna happen is once you've crushed this negative habit and you've swapped it to that positive habit, now you can choose another one off that list. Think of order of importance. What would work best for me right now? Like what's something that I really want to achieve? And what's something that maybe one of those could knock out three or four of those? You'd be amazed what happens when you begin doing this. And then sit down with yourself once a week, choose one day a week for about an hour and do a check in and write down what's going good for you. Write down three things that are going good for you and three things that you'd like to improve. Don't be any negative about it. The improvements you're going to talk about, how you can improve them. You're not going to talk about what went wrong. That's going to shift more positive, healthy habits. Okay. And then you need to tap into the potential of your subconscious mind. And that's where, we really dive more deeper into. Um, on another podcast, I will dive into more about our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is basically formed when we're a child, and from birth to about 7 years, everything is just dumped into our mind, into our thoughts, like our environment, all the people around us, everything plays a factor. TV, music, friendships, like family, school teachers, public doctors, like every single thing plays a factor in that environment. and it's just shoved, shoved, shoved in to you, and you don't get to say no. And then those are habits that are started and created and developed for you, and they're gonna you're gonna have a lot of those habits that come from that birth to 7-year time period is going to be the habits that you have in your adult life too, and or until you, even in your teens, like your adults, like it's going to be there until you address them. And so that's what we're doing here is we're addressing those habits that we want to change so that we can shift and realize that we are successful people. The ability to obtain what you want without infringing on the rights of others is literally, if you can think it, you can do it. And so by choosing to practice these little things each day, you'll find that belief within yourself, and you're going to obtain those things. Like you're going to find those things. And what's the coolest thing is other people are going to be watching you. They're going to ask you how you're doing it. And some of them are going to come along with you on the journey, and they're going to start their own journey. And then you get to guide them and help them and like share with like what you've been doing, and that's a ripple effect. It's gonna be your family members, it's gonna be your friends, it's not gonna be everyone. There is a statistic that says 70% of the world would rather die than grow or change. And so that's a very big amount of the population. So are you a part of the 30% that's evolving and changing, or are you part of that 70% that says, I am who I am, and if you don't like it, F it? For a long time, I was part of that 70% until 5 years ago. Next month, on the 6th of December, will be 5 years since I said yes to being a part of that 30% of the world that decided that I needed to change, that it was okay to change. It's not being a hypocrite to decide to do better. And it's okay to improve every area of your life. It's okay to say what I once believed I no longer believe in. It's completely okay to be your true, authentic self, even if other people don't like it. That's okay. The beauty of being authentic is that you're not being fake. All the layers to your onion just get peeled back, and you just become this beautiful pearled onion, and you just shine so bright, and you just it's amazing what can happen when you just peel back those layers and you begin to eat every day, just you're peeling them back. And this is a lifetime journey you have to realize that you're choosing, which is such a beautiful thing because your days are going to get brighter and better. And I started doing this at 40 years old. You can start now. I'm teaching my kids this same thing. I have been working with, as I've been doing my own journey, my family has too. And it is a ripple effect. It does change everyone. Um, and so just like think about these questions. How do you use your spare time, and how do you spend your money? Um, and that's going to be a really key factor. And the starting point of all achievement is desire. So you have to keep that constantly in your mind. You have to constantly keep that goal you have in your mind. I'm not saying obsess over it. I'm saying every now and every day you're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm so excited for that." Every time it pops in your head, and every time you're doing something that aligns with where you're headed, it's going to come up, and you're, "Oh, that's a good feeling." And you're just gonna think about it, and you're just gonna bring that up, and that's really that visualization, right? But what you're doing in your spare time, I'm not saying you have to constantly study. I'm saying, what programs are you watching? What are you and your family influenced by? How do you speak to other people makes a huge difference. How you treat other people. It's just a lot of it integrity, right? And how you speak to yourself is the most important, and how your thoughts on yourself, because that self-image broke me for years. And it clicked in the shower yesterday. It was so crazy. I wrote my book, and I mean, like, it's, I wrote my first book, and it's about my life story. And that was a very vulnerable thing for me to do, right? But what I realized was that I I absolutely um realized that so many things in my life that happened, everything toxic, everything negative stemmed from my subconscious from like when I was a kid. It rooted, like, the root of the problem was from that during that time when I had no control over it. And so here I am all these years I've been hanging on to all this baggage, and I don't need to. I couldn't control those things. And why should I have shame and guilt? And why should I feel so horrible um, for not knowing better, right? For not knowing better. And so it's a lesson. And now it's a blessing because I'm just I feel so free. I just thanked Jesus for like, thank you for healing me, and thank you for walking me through those really hard times in my life and getting me through them. And just really was like that moment in the shower yesterday was like I felt more free and so much joy and gratitude and so much humility, and I was just like, this is that feeling of changing and rewiring your self-image and, like, changing who you are and finding love for yourself that's rooted, like, deep, deep down. Like, I am so grateful to be such a healthy person and to be just so mindful of who I am today, and I will speak life over myself and others and just love people where they are, and I am just so like, I'm just so humbled. I'm so humbled to know that I don't have to live with my past, that I can truly let it go and heal from it. And so many people, I like even myself, felt like I would like live with that forever. We feel like we're going to be stuck with that feeling forever of like shame and doubt and worry and fear and all these horrible things that aren't meant for us, and it's just such a low vibration. It's just such a low feeling, and it brings us down so much, and it's just not good for us. And so it creates disease, right? It creates disease. And so for me, just knowing just this I feel like a new woman. Like I just feel like a new woman. I'm so grateful, and that's what I want for you guys. I want you to understand that as long as you're not quitting, you're successful. A successful person keeps going. We might try something 1,000 times before we get it right, right? We wouldn't have electricity if our the inventor of electricity, if he literally just said, "Okay, that didn't work," and quit. It took over 1,000 times before he got it right. And so, like, keep that in mind. Like, keep that in mind. And, like, so many people had trial and error. So many people went through ups and downs, lost everything, and then got it back. Like, it's just part of who you are and developing and creating and learning, like just practicing. You're practicing to see what works and what doesn't work, and you're finding it, and it's discovery, and it's actually fun because that's what we should be focusing on. Truthfully, the success comes from not quitting, because the journey along the way is what develops us into the character and gives us the grit, what helps us begin to really find our purpose. It's that journey, that's that journey along the way. And so like you have to give yourself grace when the moments when you like didn't get something accomplished, or maybe like you're that person who's just been sitting down and not doing anything to get toward your goals because fear is just frozen you, let's be honest. Or just feel like everything is going wrong in your life, so you just don't have time for yourself, for your dreams and your goals. You don't have the money for yourself, your dreams and your goals. Like these are all I'm never going to use the word excuse again. I don't think they're excuses. I think they're part of the habits that we've learned from when we were younger. They call them paradigms. And I really think they have to do with that. And I think that is what keeps a lot of people from being successful or feeling successful, is because these habits they developed. So I was a professional quitter, for example. I was a professional quitter for so long. And what I had to decide to do was to stop saying that I was a professional quitter. I just stopped saying it. That was the first habit I had to change, was the way I spoke to myself and about myself, the way I talked to myself and about myself. And after that habit change, then things became more clear for me, and I was started becoming more consistent. I was starting to show up for things. I was starting to like the fact that I was showing up for things. I liked being a part of things. And so what are you saying to yourself that makes a huge difference in setting the goal and hitting the goal and doing the things? And so I really want you to like think about that. Are you, those thoughts are so powerful. And it's got to start there, in my opinion. It starts with that no stinking thinking, with really just choosing every time you say something negative or toxic, or think something negative or toxic about yourself or someone else, you re-say 5 things out loud. The key here is out loud, you're saying it out loud. And I was in the middle of the grocery store thinking something in my head, and out loud had to say 5 affirmations, like 5 things positive. At first, it felt embarrassing because people were just staring at you, because all of a sudden you're like bursting out these things. I'm not yelling it, I'm just saying them, right? But you look like you're talking to yourself. But the reality is I'm rewiring my brain. I'm not worried about what anybody else thinks, whether I'm in the grocery store, whether I'm in the carpool line, whether I'm at home. It doesn't matter. I want to rewire myself. And by saying it out loud, I'm not just thinking it, but I'm saying it and I'm hearing it. And that really did change and have some perspective for me and shifted things, because after a while, it just becomes natural to where you stop having those negative thoughts and you start replacing them. And so you'll shift your perspective, is what happens. And once you're shifting that perspective, then you're able to see the good in things. You're able to see more good. And I'm not saying you're ignoring the bad. Obviously, if something is not safe or it's not healthy for you, you're not going to ignore that, right? But you're also going to learn, like, it's okay to see things from a different perspective, especially from someone else's. And it does take time and it does take practice, but it's such a rewarding experience. And so I hope this really helps you guys today. It was on my heart to share it. And I've just been so fired up since getting my book published the other night. And I've just been patiently waiting for all the reviews to go through to get it live. But it's just been such a rewarding experience to go through this and to really decide that I was going to work on it every single day. This is really something that's been on my heart for for like 5 years, for 5 years. But I was too afraid. I was too afraid, and I was too scared, and I was just worried about judgment, to be honest. And then I realized that I shared my story so much on social media, that I shared my story with my business. I shared it with with new people coming in as I was training and coaching. Like, I was constantly sharing my story so much. And it's such a huge, big story, and it had a lot of mess in it, right? A lot of mess, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. And I just didn't know how to share such a big story. And so, um, I can be honest, I did not add every single detail of my life, because if I just didn't see value in, and when I could I wanted to be very specific about what I realized. And those other things, I do briefly mention them. I just don't go into as much detail. Um, but there really was some profound moments in my life that really created these walls and barriers for me. And they were directly related to that subconscious mind. They were directly related to those childhood trauma and those things we call PTSD, or trauma or abuse, directly related to all of that. Um, and I was really afraid. I'm just going to be transparent. I was really afraid um, of offending, like, my family or hurting people in my family. And I realized that I have a truth that I needed to share, and that the things that what I thought were my truth were actually not. Um, as I shifted my perspective, I realized that that shift of perspective was truly my truth. My mess and those things I went through were the message that I get to share today. It's what created the purpose inside of me. It's what created the grit and the character, and developed to the person that I am, but also the person I'm becoming. And I just, to be honest with you, I was every time you talk about something and every time you share it, like, it's good at first in the healing process. Like, here I am 15 years later, right? We're into year 15 of getting out of the domestic violence and starting to rewrite our story, like my kids and I. And I think about how I used to have to share my story so much. In the beginning, going over to like groups and therapies, and you going to counseling, like, you're constantly sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing. And there comes a point, and it came to that point, especially in therapy, where we realized that we were just sharing too much because we were so used to sharing. And we were so used to sharing the problems, but nobody had ever told us to look at the solutions. And so we shifted one day, and it was because of me. It was because of my work and because of the people I was surrounding myself with. I recognized this through therapy. And I was sitting in a session with the three kids one day, and I told our counselor, I said, you know what I realized? I realized that every single time we come in here, we're constantly reliving our nightmares. We're constantly talking about our problems. We're constantly sharing like all of these things that we really don't want to share. And I said, is there any way that we can shift this and start becoming solution oriented? I really feel like if we can start coming up with solutions to these problems and these things that are really bothering us or that we don't want, like we want to change these things about ourselves and our life, then we should start speaking the life that we want, and we should start speaking life over ourselves, and we should begin to come up with some solutions. Like, let's brainstorm on ways that we can improve our life, ways that we can improve our mental health, ways we can improve our sleep. And so we really started diving into the solution oriented pattern. And once that happened, things began to shift. And what I really love about that was um, those things began to shift. And as they began to shift, we noticed a difference in ourselves and our lives in a good way. And so it doesn't happen overnight, but you will notice little things, and they'll begin to become normal little things. And it will feel uncomfortable at first. I'll be honest. When you're so used to living in chaos, or you're so used to living in a feeling of lack, a life of lack, it will feel very uncomfortable to feel good, to feel joy, to feel gratitude, to feel things. You'll be like, okay, what's coming next? Because I know something's coming next because I feel too good, right? No, that's not true. You bring that on yourself when you say that. So what you should be saying is, I'm so grateful I feel so good. I am so grateful that I feel so joyful. I am so happy and so grateful that I am experiencing this life right now. Like, I am so grateful and so blessed. And just start speaking of all the good things you're grateful for, and like write it out. Like, write it out and love that moment and let it keep, like, stretch that moment as long as you can. And it's not always gonna be like that, right? So you gotta stretch that moment. Don't focus on anything coming. Just focus on, like, right then, like, "Ooh, this feels so good. I want to feel like this all the time," and just, like, write it out, enjoy it, love it, have fun. And that's really what we have to learn to do. And that's where we begin to rewire ourselves to less lack and more abundance, more good stuff, right? And I really feel like that's what's happening, just in my life personally, but in so many other people around me, because I've surrounded myself with those people. And so never feel like you should be the smartest person in the room. You always want to be the student. Success leaves clues, and it always leaves clues for you so that you're able to see things and be able to understand things more, right? And then just know, like, it's daily habits. It's like, what are those daily habits that you're doing? And so I always make a list of 6 things that I wanna accomplish in my day, no matter what it is in my life, but it's something that I do every single day, and I know it's a habit, I don't add it. But if it's something I'm struggling with developing that habit with, or it's something like I wanna make sure I do not forget, it goes on that list, and there's only 6. And if there's more, I start a list for the day after, and just kind of like an extra list of extras, right? But I never go on those extras unless something is just like goes really so easily and flows so effortlessly. And just know, like, that really does make a difference. But those 6 things, I just feel so accomplished when I get them done each day. If I don't get something done that day, it goes on the list the next day. And I think that really makes a difference. And I actually make that list the night before. So making that list the night before really helps you stay on task, really helps you get things accomplished, and you feel successful. It's a feeling. Success is a feeling. It's that keep the continuous momentum, that you ride that momentum. That's success. Like, it feels so good to be consistent. It feels so good to show it for yourself and others. It feels so good to give back and to help other people and to rise up. and the money that you're looking for, the abundance, the prosperity, that's all coming naturally. It's going to flow because it just comes. Um, the more we're just aligned and doing the things. And so really excited for you. Just super, super, super excited for you to go on this journey and to just develop yourself in so many areas. And just know if you ever have any questions or ever want help, just reach out. Like I am always open to help you. Have a great day.